Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. With the pre-order of the Sisters of Battle Codex coming along next week, we are, like usual, getting a load of articles about new rules, abilities, and units that we can expect to find in the book. And today, Warhammer community have blessed us with a pretty chunky article looking at 3 of the new units you Sororitas players can look forward to. The first up is the much anticipated Paragon Warsuits. As I think we saw in some leaks recently, I believe these are around 80 points per model, and for that you get a movement of 8 inches, weapon and ballistic skill of 3+, strength and toughness 5, 4 wounds, 3 attacks, and a fantastic 2-up save. Whilst not quite as many wounds as I was expecting, I was going to go with about 5 or 6, they do have that 2-up save, which is really going to help with their survivability on the tabletop, and in addition to aid in their durability, they have a fantastic little rule, much like the Space Marine Dreadnoughts have, which reduces 1 from the damage characteristic from any attacks allocated to models in the unit. This is a really powerful rule, as I'm sure many of you Marine players will know, and will do a lot to make their 4 wounds just go that extra bit further at keeping them around. In terms of their weapons, the article discusses the 2 available melee options for them, the Paragon Warblade and the Paragon War Mace. The blade is clearly the anti-infantry, anti-marine option with +1 strength, -3 AP and flat 2 damage, whilst also granting you an extra attack for 4 attacks per model, whilst the mace is a much heavier hitting strength +4, putting you at a fantastic strength 9, -2 AP and flat 3 damage, whilst causing you a -1 to hit in melee. Realistically, I would put both those options as okay. They're nothing super amazing, and I'll be honest, I was expecting a little bit more. The sword is basically a slightly beefier mastercrafted power sword, and the mace is great profile wise, don't get me wrong, but with only 3 attacks, being dropped to hitting on 4s is a really painful downside to it as an option. And so I'm not sure which of these I would actually rather take. I guess we'll see what the points for each are when the codex comes out, but as it stands right now, the unit as a whole is decently survivable, but not really quite as killy as I think we were all hoping it might be. The Celestian Sacresants are another melee focus unit the Sisters now have access to, with a generic Sisters stat line of mostly 3s, 1 wound. They are slightly better in that they have a decent 2 attacks and a very handy 2-up save, but I will say right now, I personally don't think the shields will add another +1 on top of that like storm shields. I think that 2-up save is taking the shield into account, and it will just give them some kind of invulnerable save. But still, it does add some relatively decent durability to an otherwise fragile toughness 3 1 wound unit. As far as their war gear goes, they can take the Hallowed Mace for strength +2, -1 AP and a flat 2 damage, granting them strength 5 attacks, and then killing a marine outright if it fails its 4-up save after being wounded. It's not a bad little anti-marine weapon, and will help you massively against the new and improved toughness 5 orc stat line as well. The other option for the Sacrosancts is the Halberd, which grants you +3 strength and a wonderful -3 AP, but only 1 damage, which I find very odd. Against marines, I would personally rather have the -1 AP and 2 damage instead of the -3 AP and 1 damage. Both are wounding on 3s, so I don't know, I'm just not entirely sure what the niche is for a strength 6 -3 AP 1 damage weapon. Almost everything in that kind of bracket where you want the higher strength and the better armor penetration has 2 wounds now or more, and so the halberd is going to be really frustrating as you just try and chip them down 1 wound at a time. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but personally I would rather have seen the mace as a nice cheap option with just 1 damage, and then the halberds as the much pricier but much better in every way option for when you knew you were going up against 2 wound enemies. Finally, we have the Dogmata, again helmeted in the Warhammer community picture, and her stat line is again pretty standard, mostly 3s with 4 wounds, 3 attacks, and a 3-up save. Her weapon, the Mace of the Righteous, comes in at +2 strength, -2 AP, and a flat 2 damage. It does feel very similar to a Chaplain's Crozius, and it bumps her up to strength 5 and allows her to quite reliably get through 3-up armor saves, and then doing a flat 2 damage will be useful against most of the enemies she comes up against. Like the Paragon suits though, with only 3 attacks, I do worry about how effectively she will be able to get through even smaller squads of Marines, like a 5-man squad of Marines. She won't really kill all that many of them with her just 3 attacks. They also showed off one of the abilities that presumably comes as part of her mace. I thought at first they were showing off another one of her hymns that she could chant, but I don't think it is because it doesn't mention about it being successfully chanted or anything. So I think this is an ability that comes with her mace, or maybe just an ability that comes with the Dogmata herself, which is called Unflinching Determination. And this lets you select a core unit within 6 inches and it gains objective secured until the start of your next command phase. Or, if it already has OBSEC, each model in the unit counts as one additional model for the purposes of controlling objectives. And again, it's nice for grabbing those objectives, and it definitely will help you win games sometimes, but it just feels a bit boring to me. Maybe it's because I don't play in any kind of competitive sense at all, but rules that interact with OBSEC and that kind of thing, I get it, I understand it. They're very strong in 9th edition because this edition is all about getting those primary points. They just really don't excite me like some other rules would do instead. Anyway, that is all they showed off for today. It is nice to finally see the rules for some of these new units, but I will be honest, I can't help but be a tiny little bit disappointed with some of the rules and weapon profiles that we have seen today. But what do you think? Do you think the Paragon Warsuits or the Sacrosancts will be seeing much play on the tabletop with these stat lines and the weapons that they come with? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I will catch you later, guys.